This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, let's show you. Here you can find in this PDF, you can find both AMDP and CDS view. You can go through this and we can find a lot of stuff here like screenshots and everything. So you can go through this document as well. Like how to create CDS view even with steps they have given here. Like I discussed before, in lower versions of HANA Studio, you find DDL source inside dictionary, like here. But in our case, we have a separate folder called CDS view, and there we find DDL source. So that difference you can understand. Rest all are same. You can see how they created CDS view, and you can also look at the source code and how it is leveraged. You can have a look at this. This CDS underscore new, which were already shared you, this has lot of whatever templates we discussed till now. It has all the templates with the explanation of annotations, everything it has. It will be very useful for you. You can look at this document as a priority. It explained also what is the SQL view name. See, for example, is the only mandatory annotation. And what is this authorization check? It is explained all things. How to use CDS views in ABAP programs without parameters, with parameters, extending CDS view, and also it mentions some other things like how to write the code, group. So this has everything. Even how to consume CDS views in ABAP objects. And this is SAP block thread where you can find the documentation for all the annotations. If you are interested, you can go to this thread and you can look at all the documentation. This is what about, and also we have other documents. Here it's also CDSU, but you have all the templates coding. Okay, but the earlier one contains many things. It also contain all the templates coding. I am searching for some other thing which has some links and all that I am going to explain now. First, let me find out here. If I am not able to find, I will send you again. Okay, one moment. I am stopping the screen sharing and I will share again. Okay, we are actually, I will share you these things. Here you have some links related to CDS view. First, let me go to this and show you what are these. One second, guys. The system is trying. Okay, so we are discussing the links in CDS view. For example, you can also look at the same thing. So the first one is related to, usually the questions are asked like, can we apply select options in CDS view? But one thing is, like we discussed, you create CDS view and you can use it in ABAP program like a normal table or a view. There you can easily apply select options and parameters. You can create like normal, you can create CDS view and you can use it like a normal table or a view inside a web program, and where you can apply select options or parameter. That is one thing. But if you want to achieve inside like with parameters, right? So for that we have different options. So one thing is you create a parameters template, right? With parameters template, and here you can write two parameters like this. You know, we have already done this. You just mention comma and put one low and also high. Then rest you already know. You can apply where condition here between something, then you have the screen like this and you enter and you will get the output. So this is one of the way, but usually like we discussed, you create CDS view without any parameters and you can use it inside a web program or anything like a normal table or a view. But if you want to achieve through parameters, because you have only parameter option here, but if you want to achieve select options, you just mention here two parameters like this, low, high, and in the where condition you write the code, and then you can use it like select options kind of functionality. Now let me show you another one. If you look at another one, it's the same one, I guess. Yeah, this is like directly select options in CDSV, like which I discussed the first solution. You can create like a normal table, you can create like a normal view, normal CDS view, and you can use it inside your ABAP program like normal table or a view. That's what this thread is saying. So there is no particular inside that. So the previous one was talking to use select options using parameters in like parameters option, but here it is saying you no need to do anything. You can use it like a normal table or a view. So this is what it is saying. Okay, there is a table function. This anyway I will show in the next threads, but let me show you here also. You can do this as an assignment. You can also achieve it using table function. Let me show you. We discussed all templates except table function. But here in details. if you go to right click new other ABAP repository, if you go for this table function with parameters, you can see here this is the table function which we have given. Here you see parameter name, parameter type. It's like input, this is output. And here you can give some class name and method name, and you create AMDP with the same class, AMDP class, and you give the same method and you implement the logic. So you implement the logic. So here what you can do, you can take some string, dynamic string, and that you can pass inside method. You can use apply filter and all, you can do that. So let me tell you, this is input, this is export output, this is AMDP class and method. So now if you look at, see, we are creating table function. In with parameters, we have given some values, select options, but with the data type like 1000, like a string. It returns some fields, and this is the class, this is the method, this is the AMDP class method. Now if you go to AMDP class, we created the same method inside AMDP class. See, this is the AMDP class and method, but here you see apply filter is used, and we are taking this as a string, same like we did in ABAP program. But in ABAP program we converted select options into string using function module, but here in the table function you are taking directly select options as a string, and inside you are writing apply filter, then you are returning the data to these fields. So you can also look at this. And apart from this, we have also, here we have multiple things.
When we are going to use table function and when we are going to use simple series.
Yeah, table function, if you want to use, you can use like in this scenario, like AMDP integration. If you want to use AMDP method inside CDS view, then you go for table function. But anyway, normal method also has the same capabilities, correct? You can create a normal AMDP method and you can have import export parameters even in the CDS view also. But if you go like other CDS views, right? If you go for view, define view, what that CDS view will do, it will give data in the output, correct?
Yes, yes.
Even inner join also it will give in the output. Association will go output. Parameters take input and give output, but table function takes input and gives output into some parameters. And another thing is you can implement the logic inside AMDP. Okay, but same functionality. You can use any template, but same functionality. In case if you want to know, because what is table function, how to use AMDP inside table function, then you can look into this.
Okay.
Yeah, do it. If you have questions, you can ask me. I can explain. And we have a lot of thread. I will share you these documents to you today along with the video. You can go through this. And also here also table function is explained in details. Here also, here it is not taking any input, only it is returning these three and implemented in this AMDP method. You can also see the details, method name, it's all same using, but only thing is while defining the methods, you need to, you just write in the definition for table function and table function name, because here our table function name is jetstring underscore AMDP underscore TF. In the definition, you should mention for table function name. That's it. And in the implementation, it's the same. Only thing is you should return those values using this return, and then it's like your normal select statement. Okay, another thing, this is not ABAP and HANA consultants job. This is usually security people create, like in our normal ECC, SAP, how we create roles, authorization objects, right? And then they assign to the user. Same way, they can also control CDS view authorizations using DCL, data control language. They create it and they assign to the users. Then inside CDS view, by default you have check, right? If you do, if check is there, then it checks authorization from those DCLs. If you write not required, it doesn't do any checks. But in case if you are interested, what is this DCL, how security people create, you can go through this. It's same like your authorization object role creations. Okay, you can go through this if you are interested.
It's like that if a USA user want to use this CDSU, only you should able to access
Yeah,
USA sales organ. If
exactly.
Australian people
Yes,
want to access,
yes, you are right. Same way, same way. As a developer, ABAPer, you don't do this thing. If they ask you, right, do the checks, then you put the default annotation check. If they don't want to do any checks, you just write not required, but they work based on this DCLs. Okay, here why I am giving you this thread, because there is a possibility people can ask you, uh, what is the annotation to represent CDS view as a dimension, right? They will ask. So this is the annotation at the rate analytic data category. If you write dimension, it's like a dimension. If you write cube, it's like a cube. But once you write this annotation dimension, you should make sure you have all the master tables and master, like master data. But if you write cube, it should have measures and all. Only this is just for this annotation, what analytics dot data category annotation. So it represents like dimension or a cube. Okay, here maybe you have some questions like how many types of CDS views or how many types of DDL views are there. We have already done all those, but in case if you want to know, like hypothetically, there are three types: basic, composite, and consumption. Basic means if you use only DDIC tables, like we have done the first one, right? It is called basic. Composite means if you use mix, you can use CDS view and you can use tables as a data source, then composite. Then consumption. No, basic means if you use only DDL tables, dictionary tables. Composite means if you use another CDS views. Conjunction views means if you use mix, okay. So those are all the types, but you already know how to use them. But in case if you want to know more, you can look at this. And this is talks about currency references, but currency references you can use like normal other tables only. There is no any separate convention and all. So anyway, in the table you have amount, currency, quantity, unit. You can use them like other fields inside CDS view. So there is no special mechanism for that. Okay, you can also go through these things. I will also send you this along with our documents. Okay, so I'm going to start now OData. So before that, let me know if you have any questions, because we have already discussed introduction of UI5 theory in the previous class, right? So I'm going to start now directly OData, because I also explained you what is OData and all. Before that, any questions? So can I start OData now, or do you want it from tomorrow? Because I'm not seeing most of the people due to festive season, but even I asked whether you want any holiday, no one requested anything. So I'm continuing. So let me know any questions.
Venkat, new series that is what is that one? New series.
Do you mean document you are talking?
లేదు మామూలుగా అంటే సిడిఎస్ వ్యూస్ న్యూ కార్డ్స్ అనేదో వచ్చింది అంటే న్యూ నా ఐ మీన్ వేరే వాళ్ళు నాకు చెప్పారు అందువల్ల అడుగుతాను.
Okay, maybe it's SAP Cloud Platform. Are you talking about from SAP Cloud Platform or in HANA only, ABAP and HANA? There are some templates in SAP Cloud Platform related to CDS, okay, but they are more about UI5 theory. They just create directly some templates in database in SAP Cloud Platform and they use it as CDS view. Okay, so okay, maybe I will check what you are talking, even it is in HANA, because you see whatever I showed you, right? That is S4 HANA latest version only. But we don't have there in any templates, right? Whatever templates are there, we discussed all those templates. Okay, but let me check in case if anything is there in 1909 version. Okay. Meanwhile, if you have something, let me know. I will also check on that. Okay.
One thing, వెంకట్ ఈ BW HANA డేటాబేస్ HANA స్టూడియోలో ఇస్ నాట్ అది వర్క్ అవ్వట్లేదు. అది మేము ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసుకుంటాం అది మెయిల్
I
పెట్టాను.
mail because it's a festive season. Usually they all shut down. Even I have seen it, but let me send. Have you sent an email for them?
నేను అంటే వాళ్ళకి ఫోన్ చేశానండి, కాకపోతే అది
Okay,
వాళ్ళు
I
లిఫ్ట్
will.
చేయట్లేదు.
Yeah, actually, they all. I think that they all went to vacation, so maybe they will look back after Friday or Monday. Anyway, I will also do follow up. Okay, but let me check. Yes, it's still not working.
S4 HANA డేటాబేస్ ఆల్సో సేమ్ థింగ్ ఇక్కడ అంటే మేము ఏఎండిపి ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలి కదా దీంట్లో.
Yes, that's what. It's not working, right? You can't do because yeah, but S4 HANA system, it's a different remote desktop, which I explained. You don't have this access. I have taken this access for explaining both HANA and S4 HANA.
సో ఇప్పుడు మేము ఏఎండిపి ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలంటే BW HANA డేటాబేస్ లో ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలా, లేదంటే మళ్ళీ F4 HANA డేటాబేస్ అనేది
No, you can do any database, HANA database, whether it is BW or ECC or S4. technically there is no difference. Okay, even I explained you right in the beginning AMDP in the same system. I explained in both the systems, but basically first I explained in same server what they have given here. I explained CDS in this server because yes, system is not working there, so I explained here. Okay.
Do you have
Okay.
any interview type of questions? What will be interview will ask in any company with respect to CDS and with respect to S4HANA
Yeah,
questions?
CDS, I have given you all threads, right? They are the main things which we have not covered. Okay, coming to AMDP and all, like whatever we are discussing in the class, they are only asked like questions like when a class can become AMDP, what is the significance of pass by value, what is the significance of that interface. They can ask questions like this, but whatever was discussed, if you practice, then yes, you can work as well as you can answer the questions.
Okay.
Okay, I'm starting OData now. So I'm taking this system. So first of all, how to find out whether it is a NetWeaver gateway system or it is embedded or hub system. But one thing, first let me tell you whether it is NetWeaver gateway system installed or not. So if you go system status, like we discussed in the first UI5 theory introduction class, there are two components, IWBEP, IW core or GWFND. If that component is there, NetWeaver gateway is installed. So if you go to this component information, you can see here SAP GWFND and SAP UI component. So these two components should be installed. Then yes, it is a gateway system. So here we have SAP GWFND. It's the backend like gateway component. UI is like a front end component. So both are there means it's a gateway installed. But now here questions comes, is it embedded system or hub system? How to find out whether it is embedded system or hub system? So we understood hub system means NetWeaver gateway is a separate system, and we have a separate backend system like this. So you have, this is your gateway system and this is your backend system. If the gateway is a separate system, then we call hub system. But how do I find out whether it is this gateway is hub? It may be ECC with non-HANA or S4HANA, anything. In case if this gateway is inside this ECC, then we call it as an embedded. If both gateway and ECC are in one system, let's say this is gateway, and if this is ECC, if both are in one system, then we call it as embedded. Embedded means gateway is embedded into backend system. If gateway is a standalone separate system, we call it as a hub system. But how do we know this? But honestly speaking, in real time, how do we know whether it is a development system or quality system or a production system? Definitely, it should be informed or aligned by basis guys or senior guys. Here also, it's the same, but at some extent you can find out, but you can't rely on that. For example, if you go system status, if you have SAP UI component and gateway components, yes, this is the gateway system, no doubt. But is it embedded or hub? If it is hub means you don't find any backend system here. You don't find your normal backend tables data. You don't find everything. You don't find your KNA1 table data or find some T codes. But if you find also T codes, tables, everything like normal backend system, ECC, then yes, it's embedded system. If you don't find tables, data, T codes, it's only the gateway. But yes, you should check with your HANA admin or basis guys for the landscape details. In gateway, whether it is embedded or hub, we follow 90% the same procedure. You have to go to the gateway system and you go SEGW and you create a project. But I will tell you in the end what difference is there for embedded and hub. Technically, what you do uh, in gateway system. First, let us understand this is an embedded system. So we do everything here. Once we are familiarized, I will explain in hub system what are the possible things you do there. What are the differences you there? You don't have major differences. You have only one or two minor differences. First, let us you familiarize this, then we will discuss that. So this is an embedded system. We have both gateway and backend is in the same system. Why? How can I tell? Because here I have the tables along with the data, and I have the normal T codes and all XP01, XK01. So that's the reason I'm able to say it's a. Or you can also check in the components. Backend components are there and all. But anyway, you don't need to worry about all these things. You just need to get your landscape details. That's it. See, here I have the data and all. See, okay. Now coming to we need to create how to in a network gateway system. We create OData services. So OData services are created on top of OData project. So OData project or OData services, everything is created in one T code. It is SCGW. SCGW. SCGW is the transaction code where we create our OData services, OData. Okay, here the question is in most of the client, is it a hub system? No, we can't say like that. It's not like I see most of the clients nowadays are embedded, not hub, because before we did not have embedded option. From NetWeaver ABAP 7.4 onwards, this embedded option came to the market. So now most people are using embedded, but we can't say it depends upon their landscape again. Okay, now SCGW is the transaction code to create OData project or OData services. Remember SCGW. You can look here. SCGW. SCGW is only the transaction code. So you can look here in the right side bottom. This is the T code SCGW. Here using this create button, we create a project. So of course, if you want to create any project, it should be started with YRZ. And this is just to open a project, because by default, all projects are not open like this. If you go here, let's say you are looking for some project, you should give it here, or you can click also here in this F4. And for example, if you are looking for this, if you execute, then it will be open here. See, like this. If you want to change, you have to click it here. If you want to edit some project, you have to click it here. This is just consistency check. This is to generate runtime artifacts. Just no significance on this. Now we need to understand, if you open any project, whether it is custom or standard project, every project has these folders. Now we need to understand the significance of these folders. What is data model? What is service implementation? What is runtime artifacts? What is service maintenance? We need to understand these folders now. So can I continue, guys, or do you want me to continue tomorrow? It's up to you. For me, anything is fine.
Yeah, continue, sir.
Okay. So let us see, let us understand now these 4 folders. After that, we create one, we will go step by step. So each and every OData project contains 4 folders. They are data model, because we will also see the integration with UI5 theory and all. First, let us concentrate on OData, service implementation, runtime artifacts, service maintenance. We need to understand each and every folder. Runtime artifacts.
Venkat, what do you mean by artifacts? Means I have seen in SAP portal artifacts a lot of times he has mentioning those.
Yeah,
Is it?
artifacts means it's objects, that's it.
Okay.
Database artifacts means database objects. Runtime artifacts means runtime objects. It's
Okay.
synonym for objects, that's it.
Got it.
Yeah. So each and every data model, right? So now if you talk about the data model contains multiple folders here. We will deep dive these folders. In data model again contains these 3. We will discuss association in the end, but the main thing is entity type, entity set. So data model contains, here you are able to see only entity type, but we also have entity that you are not able to see, but we need to discuss entity, entity set. What is entity type? What is entity? What is entity set? If it is UI5 theory or if it is ABAP, whatever it is, if you want to display some data, what is required, guys? Let's say, for example, it is an ALV report. I want to display some data in ALV. What is required for that? You display always data in fields or columns, isn't it? And fields or columns are available in some structure or table or a view, isn't it? So ultimately, if you want to display any data, that data should be in fields or columns, and that fields or columns should be like a structure which is group of fields or columns. Even in UI5 theory, whether you want to display data in any table UI element, or whether you want to display data in a form, or you want to create data, you change, delete data, whatever you want to do in any UI5 or theory app, they are all combination of collection of fields. Those fields are definitely is a structure or something. So here entity type is like a structure. Entity type is like a structure. For example, if I want to display customer master data, so in this case, whatever fields I want to display in my UI5 theory app, for example, it is a table UI element. I want to display customer number and country name. I want to display these 3 fields. So these 3 fields, these collection of 3 fields, it's a structure, right? Like in our normal ABAP terminology. Now here in our OData terminology, this structure, collection of fields is called entity type. So you can correlate entity type is like a structure in our ABAP terminology. Now, what is entity? Entity is like work area. If you display only one record, it is entity. Entity set is like an internal table, means multiple records. So, entity is like a work area. For example, this is entity. Here is the customer number and country and name. See, this is entity. Now, entity set is to display multiple records. So entity type is like a structure. Entity is like work area. Entity set is like internal table. So that data model contains these three things. Now next one is service implementation. Service implementation contains the CRUD methods. CRUD means in CRUD, C-R-U-D, C means create, R means read, but you don't have directly read method here. You have get entity set. U means update, D means delete. So service implementation contains the CRUD methods. So if you talk about the second folder, service implementation, it contains CRUD methods. C means create entity. If you want to create any data in UI5 Fiori apps, you use this method. R means read, but it contains two things: get entity to display single record, like work entity we talk like work area, right? So one record will be displayed. And entity set we discuss like multiple records, right? So to display multiple records. U means update. D means delete. Okay. So this is what actually service implementation. Service implementation contains CRUD methods. Now runtime artifacts like runtime objects. Once you created entity type, entity sets, and once you generate this, once you click it, these objects are generated. These objects are runtime objects. Whatever project you created, and with some prefix YCL, there are, and some suffix. So what are the runtime objects you need to know? Runtime objects are especially model provider class extension, data provider class. These four are the classes. Apart from this, also some technical objects, model and service are created. So what are all these? Why these are created? For example, if you look at any project, right? Not only this one. If you go to runtime artifact, see, you can see here also. For example, my project is YCheck. YCL is the prefix because it's a class, then project name, then suffix, model provider class extension, data provider class extension. If you go to model provider class extension, we will discuss tomorrow once we create some ODATA project. But let me give you some glance now. This model provider class contains the metadata declarations. Whatever entity type we create, all these entity type or entity sets, all declarations are generated here. You can look at here, whatever fields we created, each and every field, we have the length, data type, and all things are here in this model provider class. We don't touch this anything. This is like metadata, like run declarations related to our project. Then what about model provider class extension? This is the subclass of model provider class. If you go to properties, you see the super class is model provider class only. It has the same methods, inherited methods of super class. So here also it's the same. But for us, data provider class contains the CRUD methods. Whatever you have seen in service implementation, those methods are seen in this class, like create entity. This is your entity set name, delete entity, get entity set, update entity. But here we don't implement our methods. We implement our methods in data provider class, extension class. So this is the subclass of data provider class. But we actually implement our methods in this class. How to implement and all, we will see. And what about the other? This is the tech model, your model. This is the service, your OData service. In the last folder, service maintenance is used to test your service and register your service. Like how to test your OData service, how to register your service. This folder is used for that. So the creation of OData service is in two ways, with mapping and without mapping. So tomorrow we will start with mapping, like how to create OData service with RFC, BAPI, CDS view, dictionary view, search shelf. That we will discuss tomorrow, and day after tomorrow also with mapping, and without mapping is also very important. That also we will discuss. Then we will discuss function import, file upload, file download, associations and all we will discuss. So I'm stopping for today, guys. So let me know if you have any questions. So tomorrow we will start. Okay. Tomorrow we will start. Of course, it is very interesting, and we will discuss minimum 5 classes on OData. Already we started in introduction in the previous class. So tomorrow I will explain you the practicals. Any questions?
Are you going to show us how to consume this data also?
Yeah, I will
Where?
explain you. I will explain even in the front end as well, consuming
Okay.
these OData services.
Okay.
And also I will explain how to deploy in gateway system once you developed in WebID or Eclipse. Once you deployed, how to deploy back and change again in the Eclipse or WebID and Fiori Launchpad. I will explain all these things. Yeah. Okay.
Sir,
Any more?
mainly this is what data is on backend server, no?
Yeah, this is gateway system. Mainly, yes. If it is embedded, your backend ECC, right, and gateway is in same system. If it is hub, this gateway is standalone system. It's a separate system. I will explain. If it is embedded, everything is fine like we are doing. But if it is a hub, I will explain what to be done in hub, what to be done in backend tomorrow. Once I create some OData service end to end, then I can explain that.
So this system is EHP7 means it's a yeah, non-data HANA database, no?
Yes, it's OData UI5 theory is there before HANA itself. Okay, even you have HANA or S4 HANA, even normal ECC, UI5 theory works. There is no difference technically. Only thing is you don't worry about the database and system. Only thing here you need to concentrate on embedded hub. Embedded means your gateway system and your backend system. Backend means ECC with HANA or ECC with MS SQL or S4 HANA. It doesn't matter for us. Okay. Hub means anyway your gateway system is a separate system. But UI5 Fiori OData works even before HANA itself. It is there. Even HANA in 2010, but even UI5 Fiori is there even before 2010, around 2006, 7, 8, it was there. 2009, it was from 2009, mostly 10, it was there. I think 2000. Any questions?
Venkat, What is any coding changes is there with respect to hub and with respect to
No coding. I will explain that. Okay, first let us create one end-to-end service tomorrow. Then I will tell you what to be done in hub, because anyway this is embedded in hub. How because I explained in the first class, if you remember UI5 theory introduction, if it is hub, right, you implement all CRUD methods in backend system and you just create OData service in gateway system. That is one approach. Or else you create everything in the gateway system only. You read data and you create data through RFCs to the RFC function modules, right? Same thing we will do. That I will explain tomorrow, because once I create OData service, then you know, right, what is project, what is CRUD methods, all these things. So that's what I will explain this after 1 or 2 classes. Okay, but everything remains same, but only thing is we do something here, we do something there, that's it. Okay. Okay guys, then I'm closing. Okay, thank you very much. I wish everyone happy Pongal and Sankranti. Thank you, have a nice day.